Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video. Well, today I just kind of want to do a little bit of a recap of what happened over the weekend, more pertaining to people's opinions on the FTC versus Microsoft case. Now, I've been covering it, and we're on the second day of trial, and it's just not going the way for the FTC. But for some strange reason, we have some people out there that live in an alternate universe, and they just don't see the case the way it is. Now, I'm not going to mention this person that's on the screen right now, but they are really delusional. Out of everybody on the Twitter space, I think this person takes the cake. I gotta be really honest with you guys. I don't know if they're just trolling or they're just really slow. I'm not quite sure. It's quite possible that they're in an alternate reality. They're in a different universe where up is down and down is up. That's my only explanation, because I don't know how watching this case or hearing this case and seeing all the evidence that's been presented, how you could think this is going in the FTC's favor. Now, of course, I covered on my channel, you all know that I like the Xbox brand, that I do want this deal to go through because I want these games in Game Pass, and I think it's good for the industry, and I think it's good for the Xbox brand. So some may say I'm biased. I'm not. I'm gonna always call it the way it is. If things were not going Microsoft's way in court, I would report it as such, but this is simply not the case. Now, with that said, we're gonna cover a outlet that's not necessarily for this deal. Now, this was pointed to me from Florian Mueller, and he goes on to say that this is Forbes' opinion piece by someone who is not in favor of the ABK acquisition, doesn't like consolidation. However, says the FTC and Sony are losing in a big time here in this case. So we're gonna go over to the Forbes.com. Like usual, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check it out for yourself. Now, they go on to say, I've said it before, I'm not the biggest fan of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition, and that's because I'm skeptical of the overall industry consolidation at that scale. I can't really say I can make a legal argument there. I just don't love the idea of a $70 billion takeover from a publisher. Of the last one, Bethesda, for $7 billion, already felt like a bit much of a tenth of the size. But if Sony and the FTC are doing everything they can to block this deal, they're doing a very, very bad job of it, as evident by this week's hearing. What exactly happened this week? An email revealed that PlayStation head Jim Ryan saying that he did not actually believe Microsoft would remove Call of Duty from the system and that they would be more than okay if the deal went through, contrary to his public statements. The FTC has been hyper-focused on the concept of Microsoft exclusives through deals like this, both in terms of games themselves and also the content within those games. Essentially, no attention has been paid to Sony's grand list of exclusives that, of course, are not being offered to Microsoft. Now, we've been through this, and if you're a gamer, you already know this. Sony holds a lot of games off of the Microsoft console. Xbox does not have the same amount of exclusives that Sony does. Recently, Final Fantasy 16 was released, and Sony paid for that game not to be on Microsoft. Now, he goes on to say that one of the most tone-deaf moments was when the FTC started asking Microsoft about if it meant that the acquisition could produce exclusive customs or items for the Xbox and not PlayStation. And this is quite literally exactly the kind of exclusive content that was produced from the PlayStation as a result of past deals from Activision. Once again, Sony is the #1 culprit here. I've always said that. Sony does what they're accusing Microsoft of wanting to do. They are also the #1 market leader. And if you know the law and if you're following this case, you cannot protect them. They are not allowed to dictate who competes with them. Microsoft is in third place, and they've proved that over and over again in the trial. I don't want to keep repeating this, but these are the facts. The FTC tried a got you moment with Phil Spencer by making him swear under oath he would keep Call of Duty on PlayStation and future PlayStations. He then swore that under oath. Then they tried to make him swear the same about other games, and the judge was so annoyed by them attempting to do that, she cut them off. Now, I reported about that in my last video. You know, some people are saying, no, that didn't happen. I don't know what case you're looking at. The FTC is doing a great case. They were grilling Phil Spencer. He was stuttering. He was stammering. I will agree that they were grilling Phil Spencer, but he wasn't stuttering and stammering. He was answering very clear answers to their questions. And he even schooled them at certain points. I don't want to rehash all of that stuff. If you want to know everything that happened on the second day of court when Phil Spencer was testifying, check my last video. I'll link it in the description down below. Now, they go on to say that the FTC has shown a poor baseline of understanding of the industry they're trying to regulate here by killing this deal. At one point, the FTC asked Sarah Bond if you needed a Windows key to stream video games, and no, you do not. In addition to not knowing how existing exclusivity arrangements are made and how many Sony itself has done over the years and continues to do so. They are so unprepared for this case. And I blame this all on their leader, Lena Khan. She's the one that's going after Microsoft here, defending Sony. They clearly didn't do their homework. They don't know how the industry works. Because if you did, how are you defending Sony's position? When what you are accusing Microsoft of doing, Sony actually does it now and continues to do it, and just did it again with the release of Final Fantasy 16. Make it make sense. The FTC also called someone from Google Stadia to the stand to testify about cloud gaming, the reason the deal was blocked in the UK. All the Stadia inclusion really proves is that it's a tiny market with no real audience and deeply hard to find footing in. It almost felt like a witness from Microsoft's side as they're trying to show that cloud gaming is a market. It's a difficult market, a fraction of this overall deal. Now, they go on to say some blows landed on Microsoft. There was an email from Matt Booty about how he didn't want Xbox games on Nvidia a few years ago. They revealed that Microsoft bought all of Bethesda in part because they were worried Starfield might go to PlayStation exclusive, and this is not actually dissuading anti-competitive concerns. Now, you kind of contradict yourself in your own article because you go on to say that Sony is blocking Microsoft or games to appear on Microsoft, that they have a lot of exclusives they're money hiding. Yet you're saying that Microsoft trying to get exclusives is not dissuading an anti-competitive concern. I think it is, because Sony is the #1 leader in that market. So I still have a few different opinions, but even them, they're not for this deal, and they can see that the FTC is losing. They're not proving their case. And I've said it over and over again. It's about the rule of law. You have to prove your case. You have to present the evidence and you have to prove it. They are not proving it at all. All they're showing me, to be honest with you, is that they don't know much about the industry, that they didn't do a lot of homework on this, and that they're defending the #1 market leader from its competitors. And that's why this deal will fail. And all these other sites and some of these channels I see posting videos stating otherwise, I don't know what you're looking at. Forbes is a very reputable organization. We can agree on that. Financially, we all know that the Forbes is a good site. They go on to say that they're not even for this deal. Yet the FTC is doing a poor job trying to prove their point. Now, they go on to say, but overall, what was on display this week is now documented hypocrisy from Sony and utter cluelessness from the FTC. Even on its face, it's easy to say this deal is probably just too big. No one is doing a good job of making a coherent legal argument in the court. I would be genuinely stunned if this did not go Microsoft's way at this point. So there you have it. Forbes, who's not even for this deal, cannot see this going the FTC's way. I reported on this all week, and I've always maintained that the FTC had a poor argument and that they would lose in court. Go back and watch the videos. I said this because the evidence, it just doesn't support what they're saying. And we're seeing this play out in court in real time. And it's not going to get any better this week. I believe maybe they have a couple more witnesses. I think maybe NVIDIA and basically Jim Ryan via a video recording. So they don't have much. This was their opportunity to prove their case, and they failed. And all the other people out there tweeting and on message boards and forums saying otherwise, I don't know what they're watching. You don't have to take my word for it. We just went through the Forbes article, and they basically repeated everything that I've been saying in the last few videos as this trial has started. And this is someone that is not for this deal. Even some of the things that they say in the end, they're still kind of salty because they said, I can't prove it, but I still think this deal is kind of too big to go through, but they're not making a legal argument, so I can't see this deal not going through. They even have to concede that. All these people tweeting out, why are you Xbox guys tweeting about this trial? Why are you so invested? Xbox guys know so much about the trials, but they don't know anything about their games. They're not playing any games. Ridiculous. You're salty. Of course, Xbox guys are going to be invested in this because they want these games in Game Pass. They want all of these Activision games to come to Microsoft. They want to be able to compete with the Sony PlayStation. They want to stop being in third place, stop being ridiculed. I remember Sony used to say, oh, they just can't compete. And then when Microsoft tries to compete, everyone's upset. Gamers would say Xbox has no games. When Xbox goes out and gets games, oh, you guys are acquiring those games. They're not organic. Did Sony not go out and purchase Bungie? Did Sony not go out and purchase Insomniac and other studios that were already in existence before Sony? What are you talking about? Sony pays third-party publishers, developers, whatever, to not bring games to Xbox. This was documented in court this week. And you guys that can sit here and say, yes, this is going the FTC's way, you're in denial. You're drinking Coke. And I see a lot of Coke is being spread over the internet, and it's ridiculous. But thankfully, this week, we will have our answer in all of this. The case will be wrapped up. Closing arguments happen on Thursday, and we will know the final result. Now, barred of, I would say, a disaster, I can't see Microsoft losing this case. The FTC has not proven their case. Their strongest theories that they felt they had just didn't translate in the court. It just didn't make sense. Their evidence didn't support it. It was a weak showing. They have a few more witnesses, and then Microsoft's lawyers are going to start to present their case. Satya Nadella will be on the stand. It's going to be a crazy week of testimony. It resumes on Tuesday. I'll have coverage hopefully Tuesday night. I'll try to get it out to you guys like I usually do. I'm going to work hard all day to get it done so you guys will get the coverage and be up to date on the same day. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about all of this. What are your thoughts on the Forbes article? They are not for this deal, yet they're calling it like I called it. And if you think the FTC is winning and proving their case, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know on the live premiere in the chat. Tell me the reasons. Don't just say they're winning it, they're proving it. Tell me how they are proving it. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys all think about this case. If you think it's going to go Microsoft's way, if it's not, I'll see you guys on Tuesday for another video and an update. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.